Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded NHL Ranking Show. I'm your host, Eric. Main man right over there. Ron, how are you?
How are you?
So the hockey world is turning upside down as we speak. There's games going on currently with some of these teams on this list. So much is going on in the last few weeks here. Playoff positioning. So I know you were really excited about getting this list out today and us having this show because I know there's a lot you want to cover.
Well, we got some big games like littered all over the schedule this week. It's going to be intense.
Yes, yes.
There's not many games left.
So before we start, I wanted to talk about the two teams that didn't make it because I know there's going to be, again, some controversy.
They can have all the controversy they want.
Tampa Bay, I know they've struggled in the last 10. They're 4-6 in their last 10, but do have a better record than Boston in the loss column.
The power rankings are what you're doing now.
And what about Toronto? So Toronto, again, ahead of Boston in the standings. They went 6-3-1.
They're tied.
Yeah, well,
they actually have the same exact record.
They do. So just wanted to mention those two teams aren't in. You may hear some stuff because even
bring it on because frankly, I've been ahead of the curve even with the NHL.com, Sports Center, TNT, all of them. They just caught up to me. They all had Boston in there.
They're finally drinking out of the same. They're drinking out of the same pond now.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's the same pond. It might be the same state now.
Same state. So let's talk about this team at number 5 because again, they're pretty exciting. Have done very well in the last 10 games here as well. Minnesota Wild. So they 40-20-4 on the season, 8-1-1 in their last 10. Again, you talked about the scheduling, and as I was writing these down today, I realized, look, they're playing Philadelphia at home, Pittsburgh at home, then at Carolina, major game there, and then at Washington, who's no pushover as well.
Yeah, they got 3 playoff teams they got to play against, and that could knock them out. That's a tough schedule, but they've been playing great hockey. They've been getting unbelievable play from Kirill the Thrill, who's just lighting it up. He's playing so well this year. He just reminds me of Minnesota's version of Pasternak. That's what you get with him. Yeah. It's the same game.
And again, very good at home. They're 23-7-1 at home.
Yeah.
Again, these 2 games against Philly and Pittsburgh at home. So again, good chance they could win those 2 just based on what they've done at home. Only a plus 35. They're a little concerning to you going into the playoffs. So they're not really blowing teams out, kind of keeping it close. 237 goals for, 202 against. Marc-Andre Fleury, that pickup, and what that
tells the team that, the team is with them. The franchise of Minnesota is with the players. They went out, they got them some players that they could use. Cam Talbot has been fantastic, but why wouldn't you want Fleury on your team? He's got all that experience. Even if Talbot does get the nod for the playoffs, you got a guy there that can go in at any moment and just steal games, and B, he knows what the deal is, and he's there to help Talbot as well, and that is huge. It's huge. And you said they're not blowing teams out. Their last 3 games went to overtime.
Yeah.
So they're doing what is necessary. You're talking about winning close games, and that's what you're going to have in the playoffs. They're already playing playoff hockey.
So again, I think that's a great point, right? If you're playing that kind of caliber hockey now, just think about when you get into the playoffs, you're already prepared for it. Because we are still concerned a little bit about the youth with Minnesota, them being more of a younger team compared to some of these teams that are in the hunt or some of these top teams, especially in the West. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how they pan out. But I know you are dying to talk about this number 4 team as it is your your team, and that's the Boston Bruins, who have been playing phenomenal hockey. I think, to your point, best record in the NHL since the All-Star break.
Yeah, I mean they've been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Look, they're getting it from everywhere. Okay, you'll look at the Bruins when they split up that perfection line of Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak. They took Pasternak off that line because they needed some scoring, and they were hoping that Pasternak could catch Hall on fire. And not only did it do that, but it spawned a third line with Coyle, Frederick, and Craig Smith that they've actually been playing the best out of all the lines for the Bruins. It's just that Pasternak and Hall has just been lighting the lamp all the time.
Tearing it up. So Boston, 41-19-5, 8-1-1 in the last 10. Again, at home now for Toronto, then New Jersey,
Big
and
game.
Columbus. So 3 home games. They're 20-10-2 at home. So again, 10 games over 500. Your concerns would be what going into this stretch here? Toronto, very big game because that's obviously for positioning in the playoffs here.
Yeah, it's a big game for both teams. The Bruins have the second hardest schedule for the rest of the way. And, this week is kind of easy compared to the rest of the way.
Yeah.
They have Toronto, but, a couple of games they should be able to win those games. So this is a big, big game because they're trying to position themselves above Toronto and above Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And because you want home ice advantage. With 1 through 8, home ice advantage is going to be big because any one of these 8 teams can win the Stanley Cup. And you got to get every advantage as you can. And look, Toronto's history in the playoffs against Boston has been horrible. And they are going to try to make a statement in this game. This is big for them. This is a playoff game for both teams right here. There's the improvements that the teams made. Bruins got the better defensive player, the better all-around player, to be honest with you. But it might not be as impactful as Giordano because he's just a difference maker for a team like Toronto because he's got that leadership as well.
Yeah.
And, I'm not taking anything away from Lindholm because I think he was the best player, at trade deadline that moved. But it means more for Toronto because of their situation defensively. And this is going to help them. And, for Toronto fans out there, they're liking this because, they needed that guy. They didn't have that guy. And the Bruins have 4 of them now. Yeah. So that is good for the Bruins to offset that Toronto offense because that is pretty good stuff. And you're going to need quality game out of Coyle and Bergeron and Holla. You're going to need them big time up the middle.
Normally on our shows on Friday we do a prediction. Do you want a quick prediction here on Toronto? Boston?
No.
Do you want to jinx it?
I don't even want to touch it. Don't even want to touch it.
What day's that game? Do you know off the top of your head?
Tomorrow.
Yes. So again, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that one tomorrow night then.
Absolutely.
So number 3,
Carolina
Hurricanes.
Yeah,
number 1 defensive team in the league, only 156 goals against.
Yeah, and they're playing Washington tonight, and they look fantastic. They don't play well against Washington. So, and this could be a playoff match in the first round. So, Carolina came in, and again, they're playing like it's a playoff game, as is Washington. It's just big matchups because they know they're gonna have to go through this gauntlet in the East.
They're playing at Washington tonight, as you mentioned, then at Tampa Bay, Montreal at home, and then Minnesota at home. So you're talking
Yeah.
about 3 playoff teams.
Yeah, they got
It's
a
not
tough
an easy
week.
and they've 5-3-2 in their last 10. So they're not playing the best hockey
Yeah,
of the season. And this is probably when you want to go into the playoffs hotter and playing better hockey. So there's
absolutely.
some concern there.
Absolutely. And, our top 3, they all had losses this week.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel as they needed to drop anywhere lower, mostly because they've basically been in the top 5 all year long. And, getting a loss against tough teams doesn't warrant, at this stage to drop out because of the schedule has just been murderous for these East teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Again,
It's
like
no
we
joke.
said, you're looking at it. I mean, there's 3 in the middle here, and then there's it kind of sandwich in between the 2 West teams. So
Look, you can take, Columbus, New Jersey, the Islanders, and they're all better than almost all of the West.
And the thing is, even the 2 teams we discussed before we started the list, both East teams. So realistically, you could have 4 Eastern Conference teams in here. Minnesota just kind of eking them out a little bit, based on what they've done in the last 10.
Look, I only have 3 teams that are from the West in the top 10. Only 3.
And 8 teams make the playoffs. So
yeah.
From each conference. So
Yeah.
if you think about it, basically you've got.
Because you look at a team like the LA Kings, they're sitting in second place in their division. Yeah, if they were in the East, they wouldn't be a playoff team.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a playoff team. And sorry, LA Kings, but you are no match for the elite in the league. You're no match.
So the benefit for Carolina, they're playing the Montreal and Minnesota at home, 24-5-4 at home.
Yeah.
So one of the best records at home. Play very good hockey at home. 19-10-3 on the road. So that Washington and Tampa Bay game. But to your point, they look very good tonight. So
yeah, and it's like if you don't put in a 60-minute skating game against Carolina, you're not winning. You're not winning. I mean, you got Anderson, who's playing incredible during the regular season. He's right now, I believe he leads the league in goals against.
Yeah.
And I believe he is top 3 in save percentage as well. I mean, you're looking at the 3 goaltenders that are topping the league, as Anderson, Shesterkin, and Swayman. Again, East.
Mm-hmm. No,
it says volumes.
Oh, without a doubt. Look, we've said it from the beginning that the East is definitely, a much tougher conference than the West right now. And again, that goes right to your number 2 team. I'm sorry, and that's the Florida Panthers.
Panthers,
44-15-6, 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. So at home against Montreal and Chicago, then at New Jersey and at Buffalo. Little easier stretch for Florida. Yeah. Number 1 scoring team in the league, so 264 goals for. And again, play very well at home, 26-6, and 18-9-6. So they don't have double-digit losses on the road.
No. Look, this team has got a powder puff schedule for the next 4 games. Like I don't see Florida going anywhere but to number 1. Because Colorado has a tougher schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, cat's out of the bag, but like if Florida loses, I'll be shocked.
So let me ask you this, Ron. If you were a team now currently, would you rather play an easier schedule going in, or would you prefer to play some of those tougher teams and kind of go into the playoffs knowing that you're playing playoff caliber teams?
Absolutely.
So could
absolutely.
This be a
and that's why this schedule could derail Florida. Because you got powder puff. You can play in Montreal, Chicago, New Jersey, and Buffalo. Like New Jersey's a good team, but they're young and inconsistent. But uh, you should be able to cakewalk that, But that's the problem. You pick up bad habits if you're going to play them teams 4 games straight. You're going to pick up a bad habit or two, and then it's going to take a little while to get that back, in the right direction.
Yeah.
And that's what happens to teams. They you know, like look, the Bruins, they're playing playoff hockey tomorrow night rather. Toronto, they're playing playoff hockey. Carolina, Washington, that's what they're doing tonight. You know, those teams, if they have a hard schedule, that's great for them. Because you got to play. You got to play hard, and there's no rest for the weary.
Yeah.
You got to be ready, and that's going to get them, ready for the playoffs because no days off, no days off.
And to me, it's a measuring stick to see where you're at currently. So again, that Boston Toronto game, whoever comes out of that as the victor, if you think about it, right, it just goes to show like how tough your team is mentally, preparing for the playoffs.
Right.
I think that gives you a lot more confidence.
The winner of tomorrow night's game is going to speak volumes, okay? Because first of all, with Toronto, look, they have an offensive juggernaut, okay? Austin Matthews, Tavares, they're stacked with talent. It's what happens with their defense. Are the Bruins going to be able to forecheck and be relentless in their end? Can Giordano, show that he is a force and he is going to improve this team? And we're going to find out if Toronto is real tomorrow. And look, I think I've had Toronto in there once all year, 1 week. And it's because they go 2-1 every week.
Yeah.
This week, 2-1. Last week, 2-1. The week before, 2-1. They don't have, that sustaining game where that's what they are. They're sustaining, because Austin Matthews and company, they score a lot of goals, and then, then they have a game where if they don't score, they can't win. Yeah. Because they can't keep the puck out of their own end. This is what they need to establish against Boston. Do I think that they can do it? I don't think they can do it long. I think the Bruins are just too relentless in their forechecking. And when you got 3 guys that can center, that play such good defense, that's going to be tough for those centers to really get involved.
Yeah.
And when you got a big guy like Charlie Coyle, who's probably going to draw, Austin Matthews and his line, because that's basically what they've been doing. Because look, Charlie Coyle keeps the puck; they can't get it off him. He's so big and long in his game that they can't take the puck away. And if he's going to keep the puck for, a minute every time he's out there, that's going to nullify one line. And then you have Bergeron, like he can play against anybody. So, so we're going to find out what Toronto is, tomorrow night. You're going to find out. And, I'm not a Maple Leaf fan, to say the least, but they're not, a Montreal team that I just can't stand.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the players on the team. I just think the franchise just likes offense, and it's not the way to win.
Yeah. Like you said, it's got to be a balance.
Yeah,
that's what Boston
this
has
isn't
been
the
doing.
60s, and
just scoring as much as you can. So let's talk about this number 1 team, and that would be the Colorado Avalanche, who have remained top team for quite some time now. 46-14-6, 6-3-1 in their last 10 at Calgary. So that's a very big game.
Yeah.
And then San Jose at home and Pittsburgh at home. No pushovers. Best record in the NHL though at home, 26-4-3. So Colorado definitely, again, home team, 2 games at home, plus 69. So 253 for, 184 against. Really no signs of any weaknesses overall all year. I know you've kind of picked them to be the Western Conference champs. Can they compete in the East is what my question would be to you.
You know, look, I think they can compete with anybody. But when it comes down to it, look, I'm not sold on the goaltending. And if you look at Calgary and you look at Minnesota, they got some goaltenders that can surprise them. And I think they'll get through to the Stanley Cup, but I'm not sure they can win the Stanley Cup because, if they have to face, like Shesterkin or Bobrovsky or Vasilevsky or Swayman, I don't see them being able to win.
Yeah, for those goaltenders.
I just don't see it.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to bring the list up real quick. And then we're going to talk about.
And, not only that, they have that Calgary and Pittsburgh next week.
Yeah.
But that Pittsburgh is a home and away. So the following week, they have to start off with Pittsburgh as well. So they play Pittsburgh back to back.
Gotcha.
That's not good for either team because they're probably going to split.
Yeah, which definitely hurts them a little bit. So at 5, we had the Minnesota Wild, 4, the Boston Bruins, 3, the Carolina Hurricanes, 2, the Florida Panthers, and remaining at number 1, the Colorado Avalanche. Yeah. So again, this week, very tough matchups. Which teams will not be on this list next week? Or will at least drop?
Well, okay, so it's like this. So if Boston loses to Toronto, they'll probably drop out. Of course, it all depends on everybody else. People. If everybody loses, then probably it depends on who loses to who. But I can see Minnesota dropping because they got Pittsburgh, Carolina, and Washington. Yeah. That is no joke. So I could see that happening. But it's really if Minnesota. I think Minnesota is more likely to drop out than anybody. I don't see like the Bruins, if they take care of business against Toronto, they should still be in there.
Yeah. So Tampa Bay, Toronto. If you had to pick a team to get back in,
well, the team with the best chance is probably Toronto because they play Winnipeg and Philadelphia. So if they beat Boston, they're going to be in.
Yeah.
Unless they totally collapse. Again, they'll go 2-1 this week. So if they beat Boston, they'll probably lose to Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So, but again, if they do beat Boston, I would probably look to them. I don't see Calgary getting back in next week because they got 3 tough games. The Rangers have a good shot. They got Pittsburgh, so if they can get by Pittsburgh, and then we'll see what happens. I think the Rangers have a really good shot. So, that I like the Rangers and all of it. I think the Rangers can get back into the top
which
5.
They were last week. So
yep.
Yeah, it's just again to your point.
Look, I think
good hockey.
I'm starting to lean towards the Rangers making a really good run. I like the Rangers and the Bruins teams, to be honest with you. I like the defense. With Lindholm and Charlie McAvoy with Bruins, and you look over and you see Fox, who could win, the Norris Trophy for the best defenseman. He's just an incredible player, and Shesterkin, like
Yeah.
you know, you gotta look at those goaltenders and look at that defense, and that sets the tone for playoffs. And again, Tampa Bay, you look at that team because they have Hedman and they have Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
This is it's the same thing that we talk about. That's what you're looking at, and those teams have the advantage. They have the best goaltenders. They have the best goaltenders.
So appreciate the list as we normally do each week. The previous week gave you a challenge. So this week's challenge was a tough one.
It was very difficult.
But I wanted to know your picks for your top 5 Bruins trades of all time.
Yeah, I can't do 5.
Okay. What do you got?
I have 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah, I had to. I can't. I don't even know what order to put them in.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna put them in the order that I remember.
Okay. All right. Let's see what you got.
So, my 7th was the Bruins getting Brad Park, Jean Reitel, and Joe Zanussi for Phil Esposito and Carol Vadnais. Now you're saying, wait, they gave up Phil Esposito. That was like their franchise. Yes. But from that point on, Jean Reitel had more points than Phil Esposito.
So good trade.
So it was a great trade because, Phil Esposito's on his downside of the years. He didn't even put up a point a game. And Jean Reitel most certainly did. He had 450 points in, I believe it was like 420 something games. I think 422, if I'm not mistaken. So he was fantastic, and he was thought to be a little old.
Yeah.
But it worked out. But the big thing was they got Brad Park, sets up their defense until Ray shows up.
Okay.
So number 6 was Tuukka Rask. The Bruins getting Tuukka Rask for Andrew Raycroft. They completely stole him from Toronto. I think that's why Toronto fans hate Boston.
It could be. I mean, you look at that, how that turned out.
Yeah, he's only the most winningest, goaltender in Bruins history. So, that was a pretty good trade. So number 5, another one. Like, the Bruins traded away Barry Peterson. Was supposed to be, he was a great player here in Boston, right? But he got hurt, and he had shoulder surgery. And he was not the same. But Vancouver said, you know what, we're going to take a chance on this. And they traded Cam Neely and a first-round pick for Barry Peterson. At that point, Cam Neely couldn't even get a grasp in the lineup for Vancouver. He comes to Boston and just lights it up.
Yeah.
Lights it up. So, and the first-round pick ended up being Glenn Wesley, who, wasn't my favorite player, but he was an above-average defenseman and played for Boston for quite a while. So that trade worked out really well. Stole Cam Neely. Stole him. Number 4 was getting Adam Oates.
Adam Oates for
Craig Janney and Stefan Quintal. So Craig Janney had a pretty decent career in Boston. Soon as he went out there, he couldn't do anything. And Stefan Quintal was about an average defenseman, and he didn't even stay there long. He ended up going to Montreal when he became a free agent. So, and Adam Oates, just so you know, 142 points in 84 games his first full season. Only player to do more than that was Phil Esposito.
Okay, see? So definitely an impact player.
Yes. Number 3 Rick Middleton. They picked up this 23-year-old kid, Rick Middleton. They gave Ken Hodge Sr. in return. Ken Hodge Sr. was a great goal scorer for the Boston Bruins. They traded him for Rick Middleton, this young kid, and all he did was put up goals after goals after goals. He became their best player for years. Ken Hodge Sr. played 96 more games in his career.
Wow.
And had 68 points. So, boy, did we steal nifty. All right. So, number 2 might surprise people that it's number 2. But you'll know why in a minute. First, they picked up a first-round pick for goaltender Ron Graham. That first-round pick was Ray Bourque.
Not bad. Yeah.
Ron Graham played 66 games for the rest of his career, and it was a losing record and a 4.17 goals against average
For a first
for a first-round pick
that turned into Ray Bourque. I think Boston did pretty well.
That is the most lopsided trade in the history of NHL. The history. But here's why I put number 1 this. The Bruins, this is when the Bruins traded for Phil Esposito, Ken Hodge Sr., and Fred Stanfield. They gave up. It's almost embarrassing. It really is. Pip Martin, Gilles Marotte, and Jack Norris. Not Jack Morris for the Minnesota Twins.
I was going to say the pitcher, right? The Detroit Tigers.
That would be better. That would have been better. Yeah, obviously Esposito, Hodge, and Stanfield ended up winning some Stanley Cups. So the point of that trade is why I put it number 1 is because the previous 8 seasons before that trade, the Bruins did not make the playoffs. The next 29 seasons,
That's
an
all?
NHL record,
That's all 29.
they made the playoffs.
So that trade started it all.
That trade defined Bruins history and made them a perennial contender for the Cup. Unfortunately, they couldn't get by Ken Dryden, who was in Montreal, and then Patrick Waugh, and you know the story. So, yeah, that was an incredible trade, and Phil Esposito had like 700 plus goals, and
When I think you can't surprise me, Maron, with your hockey knowledge, especially with the Boston Bruins, you prove me wrong every time, my friend.
And I gotta tell you, the Bruins, a good trade the Bruins have made, and you can get on Don Sweeney for making some bad trades. Yes, we know the Tyler Seguin. Yeah, I get it. He's made some real stinkers. I get it. But don't forget, he gave up Ryan Donato and a 5th-round pick for Charlie Coyle. Charlie Coyle has been an unbelievable player for the Bruins since he's been here. Yes, last year he didn't have a ton of points, and he'll be the first one to say, he sucked, but he didn't suck. He played great defensively, even he still contributed.
Yeah.
But that's a lopsided trade because Donato has already been on 3 different teams. He hasn't amounted to anything in the NHL like he said he was. If I had playing time, I'd be great. No. You have a great shot and you don't know how to use it. That's about it. That's all you got. And, a lot of people compare DeBrusk to him because he has all those skills that you need. You just got to play hard every day. You got to skate.
Like you said, get the right guys around you. Sometimes that makes a difference, a world of difference.
Absolutely.
So, you ready for your challenge for next week?
Sure.
So I want since the playoffs are around the corner, and I want to get everybody kind of amped up about playoff hockey coming. 5 biggest upsets in playoff history.
Oh God!
NHL.
Did we do like a Stanley Cup thing like that?
We did it. I think we did a Stanley Cup, but I just want 5 playoff series that could be an 8-1 seed where the 8 beat the 1. Back, I could think of like Denver beating Seattle in the NBA, where the Denver Nuggets were, with Mutombo. Something to that effect, where it's just one of those series where you say there's no way that team should have won it.
Sort of like when Tampa Bay lost to Columbus in a sweep.
So there you go. See, you already might have
the year before they won the Stanley Cup.
So you might already have, right? So just some of that. So if you enjoy what you're watching, check us out on Friday nights. So on Friday nights, we do a live fan interactive show. It's on at 6 p.m. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We are live on all those formats. You can join in. You can chime in with anything you want to talk about, and we'll definitely make sure we address them. You can follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram. Don't have time to watch, listen to us on our podcast on Amazon, Anchor, Google, Spotify, and now TuneIn. So many different ways to watch and listen. We are everywhere, TikTok, Instagrams. We got everything. All these lists are up and available for you to view. Just follow us at Sports Unfolded. We've also got we haven't mentioned, Ron, that we have our final. We should be on the Elite 8 now, correct? For our greatest athletes of all time. So that'll be up this week. Get our Elite 8 to find out who the greatest athlete was from the 80s till today.
Yes.
So we've got a lot of fun stuff that we're trying to do as well. So join in. It's free to join for that. We'd love to get some more votes so we can make sure we get the right athlete to win.
Exactly.
The ultimate athlete of the 80s to today. So a lot of great athletes, a lot of big upsets in that as well.
So hockey fans, you got to go support Wayne
Gretzky. I think he's the only hockey guy left in there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I believe so.
So there's a lot of fun with that. So check that out. It's on Rhode Island Broadcasting. It's on Sports Unfolded on our Facebooks.
Yep.
So in Twitter. So
and I got a challenge for the fans out here. How they're questioning how we put Boston in and stuff like that. So I got a challenge for those fans. First of all, put who you think it should be in the top 5 power rankings, and then I will take a look at it and I will break down those teams and tell you exactly why they're not.
Yeah, we could definitely do that next week's show. We get a couple on there. We could definitely talk about it.
I will tell you why they're not on there, and I'll tell you whose fault it is.
What if it's your fault, though?
It's not my fault.
It's never your fault.
Not my fault.
All right.
Because I know you're going to hear from Toronto fans.
Yeah.
You're going to hear from Pittsburgh fans. Although Sidney Crosby, crybabies.
You're LeBron James. Yeah. You're LeBron James. He's your LeBron James.
Yeah.
In the NHL.
Yeah.
But hey, great hockey knowledge today, my guru. I appreciate it. I appreciate the time. Great list. I'm sure, again, overall, I mean, most people are going to be impressed by what you've been able to accomplish. This is now week 21 that we've been doing this list. So these top teams, top teams have remained for the most part. But again, that 4-5 has changed a lot. So it's been kind of fun. So
it'll be interesting to see where Toronto, Tampa Bay, and Boston end up in that division, because that's going to be they're going to be clawing it out, scraping their way to the
again, big game tomorrow night for Boston. Let's see how that turns out. Ron, I want to appreciate your time. You take care. Fans that are watching live, we appreciate you. Fans that are going to check us out after, always remember to check out at Sports Unfolded. So many different formats, and all we want is peace in this world.
Have a good night, everybody.